Rogers, we got no time to play around today. No time for games. Normally, we'd let the barbecue song play out for a while, but you know what? We can't even do that today, Rogers, because we got to talk Omaha to start off. And what better guy to do that than the man who is leading the LSU Tigers back to Omaha? That's right, the head coach of the LSU baseball squad. He is Jay Johnson. Coach, how are you?
Doing pretty good today, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I can't imagine why. You know, it's obviously been a heck of a ride from where it began in the preseason #1, and then the stumbles and the bullpen, and now to kind of right the ship and make your way through the regionals and the super regionals. Before you even get to Omaha, what's the journey been like this year?
Amazing, and I think this team has lived up to its billing, being a preseason #1 team. I think they handled that well. I think we were for 13 straight weeks. We never had a losing week the entire season, and I don't think there's probably another team in the country that could say that. Had a couple tough weekends and a couple tough losses, but I just think that's life in the SEC, if you ask my opinion, and these guys have answered every challenge along the way. Had some adversity with injuries, and if you had 4 pitchers go down that are the caliber that we had go down, I don't think there's another roster in college baseball that would have been able to withstand it and be sitting here with a chance to go win a national championship. So very proud of them. They're great players. They're great people. They represent our school and our state the way it deserves to be represented, and I'm honored to be a part of it.
Well, and that's to me the cool thing, right? We saw the double from Dylan Cruz to drive in the last couple of runs, and he starts popping the jersey and pointing at the Tigers on the jersey. You know, with the transfer portal being what it is, Coach, and by the way, loved your in-game interview. Anyone out there in the portal that's watching this that wants to come to LSU, I love that. That's beautiful. But with the portal being the way it is, and with guys moving all around, it's got to be somewhat cool to have a kid who, even though he didn't spend his entire career in Baton Rouge, and some of these guys that have come in lately, to see the passion they have and develop for LSU and that fan base. That's got to be really neat as a coach.
Yeah, it is. And I have to give a lot of credit to the players, because there's 38 to 40 guys on the roster. And with that being said, there's a lot of guys that have come in here with high expectations for themselves individually as players. And on top of that, they have become a team. And that is very, very real. We've been really intentional about not just building a collection of talent, but becoming a team. And I'm so proud of them for not just how they've played baseball, but how they've become a team. I mean, this is a connected group that has placed the needs of the team above their own, and it's something that this state, I think, can easily get behind, because they're great players, they're great people, and they're all about the team. And I think that shows in the passion that they play with and how they get behind each other and pull for each other.
One of the things that Ben McDonald and Tom Hart, who are two of my favorite baseball broadcasters, one of the things they discussed was Omaha being somewhat of a birthright, it feels like, for LSU baseball, that the ultimate destination is Omaha. Was there in any way relief that you kind of made it through? Obviously, the job's not finished. You want to go in and win the whole thing. But was there some sense of relief that with the injuries to the pitching staff and the bullpen kind of finding its way late, was there some relief for okay, we made it, we got where we needed to get, now some of that pressure is off?
Somebody asked me that last night, and I guess I could say now that I've had a chance to reflect on it, yes and no. But the yes is probably different than people think. The relief for me is that Gavin Dugas gets to play in Omaha.
Mm-hmm.
Cade Beloso gets to play in Omaha. Trey Morgan gets to play in Omaha. Dylan Cruz gets to play in Omaha. The relief for me is I wanted it so badly for them. So it's not in the sense of, we met anybody else's expectations. Definitely not in the sense like we're just excited. It would have been more like we don't get to go to practice together anymore. You know what I mean? That would have been the disappointing part of it, and that may be hard for people to understand. But when you live on the inside of this thing, you realize how hard it is to get there. And times have changed, since the 1990s. And I joke with Coach Burtman all the time, like, I'm here because of him and what he created here, and what Coach Maneri continued. They've made this the place, but because they made it the place, everybody else figured out that you can make money in baseball, and you can build a great baseball program, especially in the South and in the SEC. So in a sense, he made the job a lot harder, and joke with him about that all the time. But not easy to get there. Super excited for our players to get to step on that field and compete with them. It's going to be a great honor, and I can't wait to get there and do it.
Well, you obviously are a veteran. You've been there a few times now at Omaha. How do you sort of impart some of that to these guys who haven't really been able to experience that?
Yeah, we had a meeting about it today, and we just covered a few things. Like, number one is, like, there's some things to enjoy about being there. Like, so do that. Like, that doesn't mean that you're not locked in. Like, enjoy that part of it. And this team just has really great self-awareness. They know how to get themselves locked in when it's time to lock in. They know who they need to be when they need to be it. And then we talked about the environment and big crowd. It's pretty special, and your heart's going to get racing pretty fast, but it's still about baseball. It's about one pitch at a time. It's about being locked into executing your plan, going out there and executing it. And I'm really excited to see them do that.
I have to ask, because we've seen what Paul Skenes is, and this was a guy that obviously had a world of talent when he was at Air Force. He was the two-way player of the year. He was a good pitcher. Obviously, he's turned into the best pitcher in college baseball. Did you have any idea when you brought him in out of the portal that this was a guy that could have this kind of ceiling if he was able to, as Ben McDonald talked about, not have to do the Air Force things where you have to get up at 5:30 and do your duties, and then you kind of whatever you have left over is for baseball? Did you have an idea that he could become what he has become?
I felt like we needed him to have a chance to win the national championship. Just knowing the person, knowing the talent. We shifted some things with him here, obviously having him pitch only. I think that's been really, really good for him and helped him become the elite pitcher in the country. I mean, you might as well call him Justin Verlander of college baseball.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And Dylan Cruz is Mike Trout of college baseball. So I felt like we needed him to ascend to this level. Did I think it would be zero or one run every game, 3 or 4 hits every game, pitch into the 7th or the 8th inning and strike out 12 or 13?
Right.
No, I didn't foresee that, but I sure like watching it because I've never had a pitcher be that good.
Well, that's my next question, Coach. What do you compare him to in the college game historically?
The only guy I can come up with is Steven Strasburg.
Yeah.
That I saw straight on. And I like having a pitcher of that caliber on my team.
You like Steven Strasburg with you, yeah.
Yeah. I had to endure an 18 strikeout game with him. So, he's the only guy I feel like we never got a handle on, and as dominant that I've seen as dominant as Paul.
It's pretty remarkable. Jay Johnson, head coach of the LSU baseball squad, heading to Omaha. Coach, a little rarity here. You actually get to scout your opponent. Which is kind of fun. You don't normally, when you're going through regional and super regionals, you don't get a chance to live scout, if you will. Obviously, you'll have a bunch of tape and breakdown. When you watch a game like the Southern Miss Tennessee game coming up, what are you watching as you're watching it? Just the rest of us live, not broken down with situational and all that stuff. What are you looking at?
I actually have my own kind of process of scouting, which is very detailed, and Wes does the same, and Mark Wanaka does the same. So we'll go back, and I'll probably watch this game later, just as we have everything filtered, and I can kind of work my process. I think I might catch a little bit of it. We got some recruiting stuff that we have to get done. We have some planning stuff, obviously, for getting out of here that we have to get done. And then when I get into the scouting mode, I like to turn my phone off and shut it out and do what we do. I mean, there's a lot of areas. We want to run every area of the program at the highest level. I think in preparing for our opponents, I would say that's one of the things we're best at. So I'm not even sure if I'll turn the game on, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Tonight.
Well, that might make Todd Walker a little disappointed, to be honest with you.
You know what? Because Todd Walker is the color analyst.
Yeah.
I will watch the game
Okay,
tonight.
there you go.
So, yeah.
There you go.
And I'll tell you what, I might give him a phone call and pick his brain about what he saw live for 3 games.
Well, I have a feeling he'll take your call, Coach. You know, his name's on the stadium, you know, so it's not a bad guy.
Even better, maybe we can fit him into the lineup on Saturday.
Now that would be ideal. Although I've got to say, obviously, the 14 runs in Game 1 was, you know, a lot of home runs. We saw Trey kind of get off a little bit. You know, we saw Travinski and Beloso go back to back a couple of times. It feels like your offense is rounding into form just perfectly.
Yeah, we lead the country in 10 runs or more games of 10 runs or more. These guys have done everything we've asked them to do. They're incredibly talented. And I thought Saturday night was that's one of the best performances of the season and probably the most important considering the stage. And to go 13 runs in a regional final, 14 runs in Game 1 of the Super Regional, it just speaks to their talent, their ability, and the approach for these 5 NCAA tournament games has been phenomenal. There's not much more you could ask for, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and the big question that a lot of people had down the stretch was the bullpen, you know, the back end. And it seems like Guidry, the freshman, has come in and sort of kind of locked down that closer role. You know, Cooper came in and gave you good innings. What's that like now with that back end of the staff starting to pitch with confidence?
Makes us tough to beat when you consider the offense is going to score eventually. When you consider Paul Skenes is pitching a lot of the time, we're getting quality starts out of other guys. Really gives us a formula we can believe in going into the College World Series.
Is it, I know you don't like to reveal your starting pitcher, but is it safe to say Paul Skenes starts Game 1?
Yeah, we're not remotely there yet. And we're not remotely there yet.
I'll feel confident in saying it, Coach. I feel like Skenes probably starts Game 1 of the College World Series. I'm just saying that for me.
There you go.
Yeah,
got it.
Yeah. Hey, when you look now at what's ahead, right? If you stay in the winners bracket, you get some rest, you get some opportunities for a couple of days off. Obviously, the road through the winners bracket is a lot better than the road through the losers bracket or the elimination bracket, if you will, in Omaha. How important is it that you have had that experience with it to be able to navigate, okay, you win Game 1, here's what we need to do. You lose Game 1, here's what you need to do, because it is unique in the fact that it is such a long tournament.
Well, it's changed now. It's not actually. And last year was the first year that it kind of went back to that older format where they don't add in all those extra days off.
Yeah.
You obviously have a day off between Game 1 and 2. But if you fall into that losers bracket, you know, assuming we're going to play on Saturday, which we haven't heard officially yet,
right?
If you fall into that losers bracket, you're in everyday mode.
Yeah.
And so it does probably, like a regional, emphasize the importance of winning the first 2, and that's okay. And, you know, we take them one at a time. When we played for the national championship, we won Game 1. We actually lost Game 2 and then came back and won 3 in a row, won Game 1 of the championship series, and then unfortunately lost 2 one-run games. So I feel like, you know, that experience has helped me, like, you know, you can do it anyway. You know, last 2 regionals we've won 3 in a row. The first one we won the first, lost second, and then won 3 in a row. So there's always a way until you've been beaten twice, and so you just got to keep them focused on the pitch and the here and the now.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And I've got to imagine as well, and we always kind of see this in regional play as the games get on towards, you know, Game 5, 6, 7. And not as much in super regional play because there's fewer games, but it does feel like the more games go on, the better the offense needs to be and the more chances they'll have because your pitching starts running out.
No question. No question.
And, of course, I would like to have your offense if that was the case, certainly. Last thing, Coach, were you a little surprised that they pitched to Cruz late in the game?
Yes and no. I mean, that's the benefit of having Dylan and having Tommy. I'm sure glad they did because that was a great way for him to end his home career at LSU. I did tell him I would accept him back if he wanted to come back for his senior year.
Yeah.
But that was awesome. It just was a really cool moment. It was one of those that you just kind of felt like was going to happen. And I know even though it was maybe against conventional wisdom, you felt like it was going to happen, and I'm glad it played out the way that it did.
Okay, I lied. This is actually my last question because the atmosphere over the weekend. You know,
10 out of
LSU.
10 out of 10.
That's the thing. LSU, when you win, and obviously when you lose, they still come out. I mean, the baseball fans are so good in Baton Rouge, and they're so smart, which I really appreciate. Very wise, very smart. But just having that atmosphere, Coach, that's what you come to LSU for, right?
No question about it. It was amazing, and I'm very proud of our fans. We had a great home record this year. For 2 years, we have a great home record, and they're a huge part of that. So very thankful for them.
Coach, look, you have been great to us all year long. We've had you on 2 or 3 different times throughout the season. We appreciate your willingness to come on and chat with us up here in Shreveport. Obviously, best of luck in Omaha.
Thank you very much. Talk to you guys soon.
All right. Jay Johnson, head coach of the LSU baseball team.